1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We've never done this before, but I don't like a misfire. And for our podcast and for our national broadcast, here is a proper start to the broadcast.
From Studio 1A in Tampa, Florida, comes a talk show that really feels your pain and tells you like it is. We love America and all that freedom-loving Americans want to protect. Live from coast to coast and on your radio, it's For the People with Keith Allen.
We'll help you survive this thing called life. We're for the people. Whatever your source of stress or strife, for the people is there.
Well, hello, ladies and gentlemen. I am Keith Allen and proudly welcoming you to this Tuesday's edition of For the People for this March the 28th, 2017. It's a beautiful day here in Tampa Bay, and I hope it's beautiful where you are. But I tell you, an exceptional day. Thank you very much. This day, what in the world happened to the internet? It's like 1995 speed. We had to play our start for our podcast audience twice. That was very interesting. But hey, there's always a first, and that's okay. It just felt right to go ahead and fire it again. Why not, right? It feels right. Just do it, and it's a beautiful thing, you know? So, ladies and gentlemen, lots going on in the news. I would like to mention that at the bottom of the hour, that's usually where we currently place our best guests when we do have them, and our guest today, and he would be under that category, extraordinaire, Andrew Peek. He's a fellow in Middle Eastern Affairs and Middle Eastern Affairs for the American Foreign Policy Council, as a matter of fact, and he currently teaches at the American University and Johns Hopkins University School of Advanced International Studies, and Army Intelligence Officer, top, with NATO and Afghanistan, where he handled intelligence and special operation issues for General John Allen. So this guy is top of the top, and he's going to be our guest at the bottom of the hour. So make sure you let your friends know that Andrew Peek is going to be on For the People today. And we secure people that have answers. We secure people that are thoughtful, people that have something to say. So, and that's really our aim here. And gosh, I listen to, again, so many talk shows, I get aggravated. I'm like, do they just put people on just merely to fill time? And if that's the case, I'll sit in for you. Because I'll create a show. I'll put a show together that's worthwhile listening. I mean, come on. Tell your local radio station to get rid of the show that they're airing and put For the People on if you're irritated by what you're hearing in your market. And you'd be surprised. Stations do it. We've actually landed stations where listeners would actually do that. And they're like, we've never heard of it. We heard about that program that once was hosted by the famous Chuck Harder. Yeah, I took it over 2 years ago, in case you didn't know. Chuck Schumer in the news, and he seems like he's just always in the news. This guy is an ignoramus, in my opinion. So what is one to do? Go to a swanky New York restaurant to, hodgepodge with very famous people and very wealthy and well-connected. Schumer, he just could not control himself. Sunday night in the Upper East Side restaurant, very to-do restaurant if you're in Midtown Manhattan. And he's at Salette Mizzo, according to witnesses. And he was dining with friends, Chuck Schumer was, when he encountered Joseph Califano, Jr., the former U.S. Secretary of Health, Education, and Wellness under Jimmy Carter. And was a domestic policy advisor to President Lyndon Johnson and his wife, Hillary, who were having a quiet dinner. So onlookers said that Schumer was incensed for that Hillary, the daughter of William Packley, the founder of chairman of CBS, had voted for Trump even though her husband, Joseph, is a well-known Democrat. So one of the witnesses said of the restaurant Rant that they are a highly respected couple, and Schumer made a scene yelling. She voted for Trump. And just went off and goes, Trump's a liar. How could you vote for Trump? He's a liar. He kept repeating, he's a liar. I don't know if it's the alcohol talking or it's just him talking. It's just, you don't do it. And I knew he was a loudmouth. I mean, you could see him on television antagonizing. I mean, he's like in with the Nancy Pelosi's, just Hillary Clinton's, just the worst pond scum on the planet. I call them agitators. They can't hold it together. They implode, and they're doing it to themselves. It's an embarrassment, to be quite honest with you. You don't hear any Republican imploding. You don't hear any Republican having that happen. It's just it's these misfires with the Democratic Party that cost them dearly, and they continue to do it. It's a gift that keeps on giving. So thank you, Chuck Schumer. People had some sense and voted for Donald Trump finally. And yeah, even the well-to-do. You go figure. And by the way, a lot of these well-to-do Upper East Side Manhattan folks have done business with Donald Trump through the years. And, he wrote a lot of checks to Democrats. Yeah. Because it was business. And that's the way that a business person sees it, because he wants your business. There is a big difference between being in politics and being an outsider, but I think it really gives Trump an outside advantage to the inside now, being in Washington. A lot of people say, well, it's a rude awakening for Donald Trump, but I don't think it is. I think he calculated this correctly, and I think his handlers have done it too. It's navigating, and a lot of Washington is a chess game. It really is. It's a chess game. And Paul Ryan, he optimistic now, saying that they're going to rally the troops again and they're going to try it again, but not right away. We'll see. I just don't want to see the Obamacare, which is the law of the land. Let's remind ourselves, Barack Hussein Obama's law will remain in law for as long as it takes the Republicans to get this together. And whether the Democrats actually decide to actually vote for something that's amended, that would be a miracle and that would be miraculous. But Washington has had turn of events such as this. And Washington, I tell you, with some of the papers that you like, the Washington Post today, I'm not going to read verbatim. Sometimes I do, but it's a column that they wrote today, basically giving a report card to Donald Trump and, saying, how deplorable his numbers are, and saying, Lyndon Johnson and Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan all had dismal numbers at this, in their terms, but not at this point so soon. And I'm thinking to myself again, here you go with the numbers. The same people that pointed to these numbers, these Gallup polls, which meant nothing. Absolutely nothing when it came to this man who has defied all the odds, to the party executive, all the top pundits and all the news pundits, all the political pundits, Sabato and all those folks got it 100% unequivocally wrong. I don't think Donald Trump is shaking in his boots at all. I think it's going to be a challenge, and I think that the next move for the EPA, which is going on as we speak today, with the regulations that have stalemated so many different companies and people's incomes and the productivity in our country for clean energy, finally, there's going to be a rollback and a campaign promise for a sweeping plan to finally overturn President Barack Obama's energy regulations. EPA Administrator Scott Pruitt I have him all dialed up today, and I want you to hear what he says, but very, very optimistic.
Great day here at the EPA. The president's coming to visit the EPA, going to sign an executive order about energy independence. It's a great opportunity for this country because, as you know, for the last several years, we've had an anti-fossil fuels, anti-growth, anti-jobs type of approach to how we do environmental regulation. We've always had a pro-growth, pro-jobs, and pro-environment approach. You know, since 1980, we've reduced some key pollutants in our air quality program by 65% across this country. So we've made tremendous progress while at the same time growing the economy. This past administration didn't do that. And so it's good to see the president coming to the EPA to set a new course to say we're going to be about pro-growth, pro-jobs, and pro-environment.
Well, look out. Here comes oil. Here comes gas. And the pipeline's already been approved. So, man, this is going to be a roaring economy, folks. I am so impressed. And Trump, he's called global warming a hoax. And some said that it was invented by the Chinese. It's laughable. Even Donald Trump knows that, if you just let anything into the atmosphere, obviously it's not good for it. But the thing the Obama administration did with the EPA was, for instance, coal in West Virginia, okay? You know about those coal miners. You know the stump where Trump went and spoke and promised that he would be able to get their jobs back. But coal's clean. Coal's clean. And so Donald Trump wanted to Obama wanted to mothball every single coal plant in the country, and a lot of them still are. But with jobs all these cities and communities would just dry up, and tens of thousands of jobs, would just be done, gone. And coal's clean, and they actually have scrubbers on the chimneys. But the EPA didn't tell you that, and they will have them under this administration. They care about the environment. I think Republicans would do well to educate Democrats, for those that love the environment. I think they could do a better job explaining to themselves they're not just mantling anything good that might be in the bill. It's not like we're going to take emissions out of cars and just allow you to burn as hot and whatever agents you want to come out of your exhaust, let's just go ahead and clog up the air even more. It's nothing like that of the sort. It's easing back these EPA regulations that have made it next to impossible for companies to be able to even do business in the U.S. or halted projects, wouldn't get licensing, wouldn't give permits and production, and really stopped production altogether, where it's cost billions of dollars for U.S. companies. And it's been very unfair, and who's reaped the repercussions there is the American worker. And again, Donald Trump looking out for that. But again, I think it would do well that if Pruitt, and Trump somewhere, sometime would elaborate a little bit to those that, hold dear planet Earth. I care about the environment, and my carbon footprint is what it's called. I try to do a pretty good job in recycling. I could probably do better. But I believe that we all play a part in what we contribute to the ozone and what we leave. And we should probably be a lot more conscientious of that. I think if more Americans individually would actually do those things, that would make a significant difference, because we could talk about landfills. We could talk about radiation and things like that actually affect us, power lines. That actually radiate and emit energy. You live under one of them. Big transformer next to you. Things like that you don't probably want to hear about, but there's a lot of dangerous things that lurk, for sure. And I don't know about you, but if you remember the 1970s and the 1980s, when you had carburetors in the cars, you can remember sitting in traffic, you could see the smoke. You don't see that anymore. Thank God. So we've come a long way. And I think we need to continue on with that. But if they cannot find a suitable replacement for the combustible engine, It's a moneymaker, and right now it's the wheels of commerce. And if there's nothing better to be able to replace it in that way, ongoing, unless you're going to go ahead and mark up water at $2.12 a gallon,